Thank you all very much for joining this webinar today. We prepared this home office, uh, the topic of the presentation, and we'll be trying to answer the question of how to protect the company data. And my name is Petr Švec. I'm a channel development manager here with Safetica Technologies, and I'll be leading the first session. And the second speaker is Štěpán Horký. He's a great technical consultant with Safetica, and he'll be doing the demo after my part and letting you know about some interesting stuff. Now, before we move on to the agenda, I'd like to cover organizational stuff first, which is number one. This webinar will take around 1 hour, depending on the amount of questions that we're going to receive. In case that you do have any questions, please submit them within the GoToWebinar application, and we'll be covering them at the end. Now, this webinar is being recorded, and we will provide you with a recording. And we're always trying to make our webinars as much interactive as possible. And for that reason, we did prepare some polls for you to take vote if you want, and we'll be sharing the results with you as well. So what will be on the agenda? What we'll be talking about in the next hour? Number one, there's the home office campaign that we prepared, and some of our partners, some of our customers are asking, okay, home office campaign, what is it about? And the thing is that a lot of companies, they currently need advice and help due to the consequences of the new coronavirus. And one of those areas they really need help is security. And security is something that we've been doing in Safetica since the company started. It's something that we do daily, and I'll also briefly introduce who exactly are we and what is it that we do. After this part, we prepared some overview of the new situation and challenges that the home office environment brings, and I'll also be covering some practical recommendations and research we did on this topic. Afterwards, Štěpán Horký will take the word, and he will show you some online demo of Safetica to show you how to do proper reporting on home office. And afterwards, he'll do briefly comment on our integration with Office 365, because Office 365 is something that's like an essential part of almost any home office environment, and therefore we really believe that it's very important to cover it within Safetica. And totally at the end, we will begin with the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, please submit them, and we'll answer it at the end. So to move on with the first topic, which is the home office and some Safetica recommendations that we tried to prepare. Because, as everybody knows right now, there's this worldwide large scale shift to remote work. And from our experience, all companies are not really sufficiently prepared for it. Some are better than the others, but when you take an average of it, it's not really great for them. And in Safetica, we always tried to deliver our DLP to every single company, not just the enterprise, but especially SMB, because we believe that every single company has the rights to have its data protected. And we really wanted to help in this situation as well. So we were thinking about how could we do it, because in the end, we are all in this together, and we believe that we need to help each other. And what we came out with was this home office campaign. And I think one of the strongest points of it is an ebook with recommendations that is free to download for everybody. And this has a great story of how it was created, because basically Safetica, best of of the best people from the company, they sat down together, they try to think of some like the best solution we can do to help people to know what they're supposed to do, right? And this ebook came out of it, and I believe that it's something that could definitely help you. We also do these webinars. I guess that Most of you might be here because you actually registered for the webinar on the landing page itself. I'm happy to say that we have more webinars coming in the future, so definitely stay tuned. And also on the landing page, there's a survey which you can fill in, and that's something that really help us with understanding the needs of all companies, with understanding the situation, and with prioritizing what we should focus in our product next. Brief comment for partners. You definitely have our full marketing support. So if you want to introduce our product to your customers, if you want to help with implementation and with basically communicating this campaign, we'll definitely help you. And you're able to find the landing page on www.safetyca.com/home office. So that's all, and hopefully this will be really beneficial for you. A brief word about our company. So we're, coming from Czech Republic, the middle of Europe. Sometimes, we have offices in Brno and Prague. Prague is sometimes called as heart of Europe, and geographically it kind of makes sense. We're working on our DLP for 9 years now. So, by this time it became really solid product that gets recognition among all the other big DLP vendors. I'm very happy to see that we have 80 plus security experts on this slide, because last year our team was maybe between 70 to 80 people, and happily we're growing every year. I'm super proud that SafetyCap protects over 250,000 of devices in over 110 countries. That I take as a great achievement, and it's really great to see how these numbers grow every month. And we really take a strong focus for other partnerships, and we have technology alliance with companies like Fortinet, with ESET, we're Microsoft's gold partner, and we really focus on like all of these companies that our customers are using their products as well, so that we could deliver something that's really complementing the solutions that our customers already have, and to make it as easy as possible to make these applications work together. To paint a better picture of what is it that we actually do, we're a DLP vendor. So our main focus is to protect sensitive data our customers have. And to imagine these, it can be any personal data, any strategic plans, customer databases, intellectual property of any manufacturer or anyone, contracts with employees, contractors, partners, whomever. And what we found out is that the most frequent causes of data leaks are in fact either human error, it can be problems in processes, or it could be some disgruntled employee who isn't really happy and might be trying to hurt the company intentionally for profit or just to hurt it. And I'm happy to say that SafetyCat DLP is able to prevent human error. It's able to fix some processes, so they're not just on paper, but they're actually practically working on the computers as well. And it's thanks to its analytical tools. SafetyCat will also let you know about some, well, people who might be trying to leak some data intentionally, which we see as very important. And moving on, and now we have this new situation with home office. And, this is really a huge challenge. There's an enormous increase of employees suddenly working from the home environment. For instance, in SafetyCA, it's around 90% of our staff. And if you want to know why those 10% still goes to the office, it's usually people who have children. And I'm not sure about your countries, but here in Czech Republic, the schools are closed. And I guess it can be pretty tough to work the whole day with your 8-year-olds behind your back the whole day. And this situation, it definitely has some benefits, but we'll be definitely focusing on the challenges it brings. Because in SafetyCA, we had to deal with challenges such as mobile devices and data links, a lot of work around the VPN, even some stuff like connection quality. And also to keep in mind that right now, when we have around 70 people working from home, there's a huge risk of security. And also not everybody is used to working from home. So we were thinking how to keep the productivity level on the right level, right? Monitoring is extremely important topic, because when you have suddenly almost all of your company working remotely, like a lot of things can go wrong. And employers, they want to have at least some general idea usually about what's going on, because it's really tough to just estimate how many people are working from being in regular touch with them. And like for instance, we had a customer who was asking us about how to he was asking us how to help him like see the data from SafetyCA, because he had an employee who was saying, "Hey boss, I'm working from home. Don't worry, everything is great." But in SafetyCA, the employer, he could see that this person haven't turned on his laptop for 2 days now. So it's like these things that, thanks to proper tools, can really get you the right insight to see the right cases, and also to monitor all like every security incident that could be happening. And speaking of security, that's something that home anonymity also plays a role, because when you're in the office with others, and let's say you would be someone who tries to steal the data, that can be quite tricky, right? But if you're at home, what do? You just like put a flash drive to the PC, try to take something, nobody sees you, all fine. And this is truly a new situation that everyone tries to handle. And because of the home office, there is way higher need for sharing documents, and even which is combined with higher risk of security. Because imagine, 2 months ago, we've all been working normally. Somebody tried to share some files together. They done it like they always done it, with some company protected USB or something. But right now, your colleague may be at the other side of town, or just few hours of travel by car. And if he needs something to be shared with him, and let's say it's too big to be sent via email, plenty of people who are not educated, they might think that it's a good idea to put it for some public cloud storage, for instance, which is definitely wrong. And there's definitely a difference between some intentional leaks and some errors. From our experience, we definitely see that errors are leading the causes of leaks. But like both ways, there is higher risk of any undesirable incident anyway. um, what I'd like to share with you right now is some of our findings that we got from the survey on our landing page. And as you can see here, basically 9 out of 10 companies, they introduced home office just because of the new coronavirus. And that's really a lot. And also, if you compare the numbers we got for how many employees were working from home office before and after coronavirus, you can see that it's almost as three more times as many people now being connected remotely. So like theoretically, there's like 3 times higher risk with this, and it's something that really needs to be addressed. So how to deal with security risk, how to deal with all of that. I already commented on the home office campaign we have, where you're able to find the survey and the document with our home office recommendations. What I'm very happy to share with you is the fact that SafetyCam Management Console or application is at Azure Marketplace. And this is truly a significant simplification of implementation. I'll be talking about it a bit later as well. What we really recommend is to use it to monitor the flow of documents and set a safe zone. I'll briefly introduce this idea on the following slides, and let's just get to it. So some practical recommendations and research. What I'd like to let you know is that what I'll be covering is mostly concerned about the document that we have prepared, which I really recommend you for to check out. It's like, let's say, the best people of Safetica have been working on it for a few days. They've put it together, but we want to share as much with you right now as well. So we do have time for something. So this is what I'll be talking about. Okay, so critical areas, right, or threats. And like threats, they can be divided to several sections. And we decided to cover a few of them, and especially the critical ones. So what's really great is that with our tips, you should be able to implement all of these advices in your environment in, let's say, few hours, maximum days. And it really helps to create secured environment together with Safetica. And I will be describing a handful of these points now. So number one, so what we were thinking is how to access the data and systems, because now 90% of us are at home, and apparently like 90% of our customers and everyone who filled the survey for us. And I'd say that seeing how Czech Republic is handling it, how the world is handling it, this number is probably for the whole world. So the question of how to access data and systems, it has an easy answer, and that's actually a VPN connection, which many of you already know about. But I'm very happy to share the news that our technology partner Fortinet, they are currently giving away their own VPN FortiClient for free, and it's really easy to set it up, and you have protected connection immediately. The other point we were trying to figure out was how are companies able to authenticate the user? Because if you think about it, like almost everyone is at home office. So how do you know that the person who's logged into Office 365, how do you know it's really him? And this has, again, an easy answer. That's two-factor authentication. And it can be set up fairly quickly. The two-factor authentication can be done with an SMS, some special application. And this is really something that's really fast to deploy, and it's really important for the security. The other thing is, how are you supposed to set the remote computer? Because, as you can see on the slide here, from the survey, what we found is that like 40% of companies are using only company-owned devices, but 10% is using only personal devices, and like half is using the combination of both. So, what should you do with these? And there are actually plenty of options how to secure this, like tweaking the Wi-Fi, choosing the right antivirus, and plenty of more to be found in the ebook that we have on the landing page. And finally, I'm getting to workstations. So our customers who are using Safetica, they can definitely sleep way more peacefully because of it. And you can either track activities or like all kinds of activities like the file flow, how people are working with the data, if they're doing any mistakes or not. It helps with security, very important. But we were wondering how should we help those without Safetica now, because there are plenty of companies who are just now realizing that they really do need some DLP product to help them with this situation, to help them protect their data assets. And that's what we found the answer in Microsoft's Azure, the Azure cloud. And there you can find Safetica pre-installed, and you have the possibility to purchase the setup environment with everything, with public IP, with like secured communication between client and server, and install this immediately using the Azure environment. So very big thanks to Microsoft for helping us to launch this together. And if you're wondering about pushing the agents to the workstations, I'd like to let you know that that also is done fairly quickly. However, if I'll continue on, this it's like the whole situation is way more complex than this, and there are way more ways to connect all tweaks together, because you have Wi-Fi and firewalls, antiviruses, and also external devices. And external devices, they can bring a lot of threats because, if you think about it, you're at home, someone is using his flash drive, he, puts something there, or someone just downloads something to his computer, and what happens then? So there's this big danger of losing track of company data. And connected to it, you also have smartphones, which they have easy access to Office 365 as well. So how do you protect privately owned phone, right? I mean, that's a great question. And I'm happy to say that there was a lot of hard work done from our development team, and we actually found the answer. I'll be covering it right at the end of my part. What I definitely want to stress out, what is extremely important, is employee education. And what we really recommend you to do as soon as possible is to send a newsletter immediately to your users, unless you haven't done it yet, and to really inform them about what's going on, what they need to know, why it's important to do the things you want from them. Because an educated user is like the biggest threat. Like, hackers are great, but uneducated users, they're even greater danger, right? So user can easily make severe mistakes, and you can face really fatal data loss because of this. And before I move on, what I want to mention is that you have the shortcut at DLP, like data loss protection, but it can also be used as data leak prevention. And that's exactly what Safetica is able to do as well. Because with our product, the users, in case they're doing anything wrong, there's immediately a pop-up letting them know about what they should do differently, or what they're doing is wrong for a certain reason. And it's really great feedback that helps the users to educate themselves in the real time without the need of some extra trainings, even though in our eyes the combination of both is very important. Now if I move on uh, with more tips for immediate action. So here you can see the scheme of all the channels that like you need to protect. Coincidentally, these are also the channels that Safetica can protect. And we really recommend to implement strict security perimeter, or in Safetica we call this a safe zone. And yeah, I mean, it is a radical solution, but the thing is that it really works, because the fact that you apply this strict security perimeter, it really helps with data protection. And basically what it means is denying everything and only allowing users what they ask for. So let's say you might, as an administrator, you might have someone who tells you, hey, I need to upload this file here because I need to share it with our partner. And in case the file isn't sensitive, you allow it, but you can be sure that everything that you don't want to go out of the company will actually be blocked. So as you can see on the picture, there are a lot of channels to secure. I'm happy to say that Safetica is able to cover all of it. And we think that having it this way is way better than to lose the data. Now, of course, I want to stress out that I'm talking about external communication. Of course, keep allowed everything internally, like emails, domain, servers, networks, but really deny everything else outside and only allow what's really needed. And, this is really one of the most important recommendations, and we recommend all Safetica users to do this as soon as possible. Now, there are also, it's not just about the short-term steps, there's also some long-term protection. And the first point I have here is remote access to workstations, like users working from home. And a user sits at home at his own PC, he has RDP connection to the working computer. And the thing is that he can download the data to his own PC via the RDP connection. And like, if you want to protect this, I have a great news for you, because Safetica can do it. And all you have to do is to just install Safetica in the work environment and not allow this action. And that's very important because once the user downloads the data to the home PC, you lose track of it and anything can happen to it. There's also like long-term user education, which is something I was describing because we believe that it's really great to educate the users in real time, but also to just informing the users from your position as an IT admin or CIO or whatever is really important, and training them regularly to inform them about threats and not just those connected to homework. And it's really important that they understand why the protection is needed. Now, Safetica, it has features like regular automated audit and reporting, so you know what's going on and what's happening. And implementing active data protection is great not only for the current situation, but it's also prevention for the future. Because in case the situation like this happens again, statistically, it might. You will be prepared. You will have no reason to stress, and everything will be already set up. And I have just one more slide to show you, which is Safetica 9.6 and the features that will be coming with it. And those of you who follow us, you already know that we released 9.5 version actually just 2 weeks ago, which it's a really short time, but our development team, our product team, they really work hard and very efficient. And soon we will bringing this patch of Safetica 9.6. And the first feature is a reworked remote desktop with content scanning. And before this, in case someone was trying to download something through an RDP, it would be blocked only if the file was already tagged. Now there's scanning for the content in everything, so it's like an extra feature to help. We have a new report which is focused on work transparency. It's very easy to generate, and you're able to see the workflow of remote users thanks to it. Now we have some news regarding Macs as well, and many of you probably know that until recently there was only auditor for Macs, but our team is very fast releasing features that help really as soon as possible, because we think it's better to provide small packages every month or so than one big once a year or twice a year. And what you're able to do now on Macs is to have full device control of external devices, because as I was describing, this is one of the big threats that someone can take the data from the PC at home, and in Mac you're now able to block this completely and prevent any like undesired leakage. The second point for Mac is the fact that you're able to turn off non-working hours in Safety, or rather say you're able to select the working hours of your employees. And this is something we wanted to also implement as soon as possible, because we're a security company. We work on security, but privacy is also very important for us. So now if you want to do some non-intrusive audit, you can just choose the period of time that your employees are, let's say, at work. Uh, the almost last point is the fact that we reworked Safetica Mobile with separate workspace. And this is exactly the answer for the question of how do you actually protect private devices? Because I mean, I have my phone. I don't want to have a software there that can check my photos, right? But thanks to this feature, the Safetica Mobile users are basically, there's the possibility of separating the working environment from the personal one on phones. And we see that as something really useful that could really help. And finally, Safetica Care for Safetica Mobile. We see this feature as more entertaining than security focused, but we believe it will be a nice, wholesome feature nonetheless. And it's basically a little game for Safetica Mobile users, asking about how they feel, if the work is fine, etc. and hopefully this will provide you with more feedback about your employees, about your colleagues, and about how to improve anything for them. The last important thing from my side, SafetyCon 9.6 will be available for early access by end of April, and we will absolutely let you know once it's ready. So stay tuned. And with that, I'm passing my word to Stepan, who will be covering the demo of SafetyCon and share with you some information on Office 365 integration, and then we'll just cover the Q&A. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Stepan, and during the last part of our presentation of our webinar, I'd like to share with you some practical tips and tricks which could be useful for you during these times when many employees were forced, employers were forced to move their employees to home office. So without further ado, let's move to our SafetyCA console. And perhaps firstly, when you switch from normal work to home office, you want to check that all the clients, SafetyCA clients on the endpoints are communicating correctly with the server. So therefore, perhaps the first thing you want to check in endpoint overview is the time when the last logs were sent, and you want these times to be recent, and that means that the endpoint is communicating correctly. Also, you might want to check the unsent records. Well, as you probably know, SafetyCA client works even when it's not connected to the server, so it works even offline, and it stores the logs locally. And when it again has connection to server, then it uploads all the logs to the server. So the unsent records means that there are some records which are being transferred, but also that could mean some potential problem in communication, in connection. So that's something you definitely want to check as well. We have a column here, service running. That means that the service, the SafetyCA client is turned on, everything is working correctly. That's something you want to check as well. We definitely recommend using VPN in order to allow the clients, SafetyCA clients, be connected to the server. But sometimes that might be not a suitable solution for you. So it's you can easily redirect all the clients to the public IP address of your SafetyCA server, and therefore they can communicate directly between each other. So now I'm going to show you how to do that. You simply right-click on the server, or you can select perhaps some group, but I'm going to do it for the whole user tree. Right-click, redirect, and here you can add addresses for the clients, and you can add more than one, and SafetyCA client tries them in the order which you select, and it uses the first one which is successful. So let's say that I'm gonna add the first address, and then there could be, let's say, another one. When you hit OK, these new settings will be applied, but please note that the client needs to have access to the server at this time when you're creating the changes, because otherwise the changes won't apply. All right, so now we've checked that all our SafetyCA clients are communicating correctly. as Peter has mentioned, the new situation brings a lot of challenges, and perhaps you might want to have a better insight into what are your employees doing during their time at home office. So when we go to the auditor and applications, let's say that you'd like to find out more about which applications are they using. You can easily see that if you take the application column and bring it up here. And now you can see which applications were used the most during the selected time period. Perhaps you're not interested in all the applications, and you'd like to know more about some specific category of applications. So that could be easily filtered like this. Let's say that you'd like to know more about CAD softwares and let's say CRM. Well, and as you can see, all the records are filtered. We have only some SolidWorks, which is a CAD application. So you can see that clearly here. But perhaps you want to create your own category and insert some applications which you're particularly interested in into this category. So let's go to maintenance, categories, and we can browse our categories here, and we can as well create a new one. So I'm going to create a work category. Now I go back to applications. I will clear all the previously applied filters, and let's say that I want Microsoft Excel to go into that category instead of Office Suite. So I'm going to move it there. And also let's say Google Chrome, for example. So these two would be our two working applications, and we'd like to know more about them. Now we can create a new layout based on this one, and this helps you to create a report which could be regularly sent to you by email, or it could be saved to a path on the server. So I'm going to save this current view as the work apps. Sorry, I have to apply the filter first. So right now I will be able to see both these applications and the records for them, and let's say that I'd like to see which user on which PC worked in these applications. So right now you can see all the records for that, and you have a better insight about what is going on in their work time. Now I'm going to save this view. Let's call it work apps. And since we've created our custom layout, we can create a new report based on this. So I'm going to name it work apps as well. And as you can see, we have a number of predefined reports which you can use. But when we scroll down here in the auditor and applications, there's the new layout we've just created. I'm going to select it. In the next step, I'm going to add users for whom the report will apply. Let's say that I want it for the whole company. Also, I can select a time interval. So let's say that I'm going to go for 7 a.m. to let's say 5 p.m. So all the records in the report will be only from this time interval. In the last step, we can add an email. So the reports will be sent to this email. You can choose if you'd like to have just the charts in PDF or records in Excel or both. You can choose if you'd like to have detailed logs in the Excel file, or you can select the path where to save the report. So for the purpose of this webinar, I'm going to go to save it to desktop. And the last part is the time period. And you can select either day, week, or month. So let's say that I'd like to have a daily report about my employees' activities. So I select a day, and that means that every day, roughly after midnight, I will receive this email with report containing the PDF and XLS containing records about the applications from the selected category as we've created in the previous step. As always in Safetica, let's save it at the end, and that should be covered. So now you might be better informed about the time, how the users, how your employees spend their time at home office. And let's say that you want to also create some alert. So I'm going to create a new alert, and I'm going to show you which parts could be useful for you, particularly during these times. You can very easily select, choose to be informed when a user spends selected time in a web category which you select. So let's say that I'd like to know if my employees spend too much time playing games. So I select this web category, and I can say that if they spend more than 30 minutes a day in this web category, I'm going to receive alert. You can do something very similar for applications as well. Just on a side note, these alerts are triggered after midnight, similarly like the reports, because we don't consider these alerts to be so dangerous, let's say, while on the contrary, the security alerts, which are related to violating of DLP rules, those are triggered immediately after the incident happens. So that should be all. Again, we add users. Again, I'd like to know everything about the whole company. Again, you can insert the email address for these alerts. If you leave it blank, no email won't be sent, and you'll be able to view the records in console only. So I'm going to go for this option, and let's finish that and save it. So this could be some useful tips which could be beneficial for you during these times. And the last thing I'd like to mention from our online demo are perhaps some optimizations of your endpoints, because during these times you might want to decrease the network traffic, because users are connected via VPNs, and it might be sort of different situation for you. So you can either increase or, let's say, decrease the interval. How often does the client send logs to server? So that's one thing which could be quite beneficial for you in here. And you can also you can also specify how is Safetica going to behave outside of the working hours. So firstly, we can say that after the working hours, everything will work the same. So it means that there will be still some productivity-based monitoring and blocking. For example, in the module supervisor, you can block access to some websites. So everything will be working even after the working hours. You can say that the the activity will be still monitored, but the user will be allowed to access a website. I mean, after the working hours, website which is originally blocked. So for this, we have option do not block by productivity. And the last option is that there's no monitoring, no blocking. If that goes together with your company's policy and you'd like to allow your users to use your company's laptops for their personal purposes, it might be perfectly fine. You can select this option. Just on a side note, the DLP rules are working 24/7 because it would make sense to disable these rules for a certain amount of time. So all these rules are applied regardless on these settings. So that would be everything from the Safetica console. And now I'm going to share with you um, a video about new function which we have introduced in Safetica version 9.5, and we've reworked our integration into O365. It used to be in WebSafetica, but now we have moved the settings to our desktop console. So firstly, we're going to enable logging of emails. Uh, you need to provide your credentials for administration account with O365, and as long as you sign in, this option will be enabled. Hmm. This basically means that Safetica is integrated into Exchange, and now we can see not just emails sent from Outlook as you can see now, but we are also able to see uh, emails sent from Outlook on the web, which wasn't possible before. So as long as the account is linked to Exchange, to O365, then you'll be able to see these records about these emails in our Safetica console. There's going to appear a new group called Cloud Users, as you can see on the left side. And both the accounts are synchronized, and as you can see, both the emails are logged. And now we're going to enable enforcing of DLP policies through O365 Exchange. So we've enabled this option, and now the video shows you basically the whole process of creating a data category for sensitive data. I'm just going to mention one pretty important thing. DLP rules on Exchange could be applied only on files which are classified with metadata. So it's not applied on files classified with NTFS tag. But nevertheless, it gives you quite a good chance to extend the possibilities of files which could be blocked. So now I'm creating a new blocking policy for emails only, and the company's domain is in safe zone, and therefore it will be allowed. And now we're going to show you how that works. So firstly, admin sends a sensitive file to user. User belongs to company's domain, so so it's allowed action, and it will be allowed. The next thing is that the admin tries to send the very same file to an email address which doesn't belong to the company's domain. And as you'll be able to see, the action will be blocked. And you will immediately receive an email from Exchange saying that the action was blocked. Previously, we weren't able to control files being sent from web browsers. Now we're allowed to do that. And the last things, let's say that user tries to forward the sensitive file again outside of the company's domain, and he's locked from computer which doesn't have Safetica client installed. He's working from home, let's say from home office, and even though the rules are applied because it goes through Exchange. And you can also easily enable auditing and logging of file operations in O365 from Safetica console.
All right, so Stepan, thank you very much for your part. It's been great, and you know, the only part that we still have ahead are questions and answers, but sadly we haven't received a question yet. So this will be everything from this online session. I'd like to thank you all for joining us, for staying with us for this hour. And you know, if there's anything that we can help you with in your environments, either with your customers or specifically with your own company, definitely get in touch with us. We'll be definitely happy to help. And also definitely stay tuned for some webinars that we'll be doing in the future, because already we're planning a follow-up to these sessions into the topic of home office itself. Oh, I'm getting a question right now, so just let me open it. And Kumar-san is asking if I can share some info with licenses, and I'm just not sure if I understand whether it's use-based or system-based. Yeah, all right. So the way we do our licenses is per seat. Which means that you know, any user that you want to enforce with Safetica security, he needs to have his own license. And it doesn't matter whether he will be using it per se during the certain day. But to give you an example, if your company has 100 people and you want Safetica to protect 100 computers, that's gonna be 100 licenses. And I'll give you a few more seconds if anyone will have a follow-up question. Okay, I'm not seeing anything, so I guess that's it. So thank you very much again for participating, and I'll be looking forward to see you on some other webinars in the future. Have a nice evening.